Hello! Today I'm here to talk about the present simple and the present continuous with you. So I've done other videos about both of these tenses, but not together. So today we're going to compare them both so we know when to use one and when to use the other. So first of all, I'm going to tell you all of the times that we use the present simple in English, and then all of the times we use the present continuous in English. Then I'm going to tell you when we can use both, and, if we can, how it changes the meaning. At the end of the video there will be a little quiz, so you can practice what you've learnt. For a free PDF with all of the sentences from this lesson and the rules, go to the description below and click the link. You sign up to my mailing list and the PDF will automatically be sent to you by email. Thank you very much for joining me again today. It's nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for coming back, guys. So let's start with the present simple and let's go through the different times or situations that we use it. So first of all, we use it with routines or habits. For example, I play football every day. So because this happens every day, it's a routine or it's a habit, and we use the present simple. It would be the same if I said, I have lunch at 12 p.m. So again, I'm talking about something I do every day or regularly, even if it's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I'm still talking about a habit, something that I do most of the time, so I use the present simple. Now, the second time we use the present simple is when we have a fact. Now, a fact is also something that's always true, like the sun rises in the east. So it is a fact, it's something that's always true. It doesn't change. Just like my routine. Well, sometimes my routine does change, but the idea is that generally this thing is always true. The same with hummingbirds flap their wings 50 times a second. Isn't that amazing? Now again, this is a fact. It's always true. So we use the present simple. Now, the third time that we use the present simple is for permanent situations. Like, my dad works in an office. Or, they live in the United States. So these are permanent situations, things that are not going to change anytime soon. So these first three categories, routines or habits, facts, and permanent situations, I think you can see the connection between all three of these. They're all situations when things aren't going to change, or they always happen like that, or it's always true. Now there are two other times that we use the present simple, and they're a little bit different. One is quite particular, and that's newspaper headlines. For example, man stops burglar in home. So a burglar is a person who breaks into your house to steal something. So man stops burglar in home. So it's the present simple, not man stopped burglar in home. And we just do this because it's shorter, it's quicker. It gives us the important information immediately. And that's what you want when you read a newspaper. You don't need to read it in the past tense, because we already know that it's something that already happened. That's the news. So we just put it in the present simple because it's shorter. Stops is very short. And we also drop out all the unimportant words. The correct sentence would be, a man stopped a burglar in his home. But we don't need or his, so we just take them out. And the stopped, we just turn it to stops. The same with scientists find cure for illness. So again, a present simple sentence. So it's unnecessary to use the past. So it's very, very common in newspaper headlines to use the present simple. So the final time we use the present simple with a present meaning is when we have state verbs. So state verbs are verbs that are not action verbs. For example, to play would be an action verb. It's something that we can do. Or to kick would be an action verb. Or to jump. Okay, we can do these things. But some verbs we can't do, and we call them state verbs. For example, to believe or to know, these are both state verbs. We don't ever use these, therefore, in the present continuous tense, only in the present simple. Like, I believe he's right. Or, I know this song. So even if, in that moment, I know the song, we don't use the present continuous because it's a state verb. If you want a video specifically on state verbs, then let me know and I will make one. Here are a whole list of state verbs. There are a lot of them. And the final time we use the present simple is for the future. So we can use the present simple for the future in a very specific occasion. On a very specific occasion. Sorry, not in a specific occasion. On a specific occasion. And that is timetables. So when there's a very fixed time, like an appointment, or a train time, or a flight leaving, these occasions we can use the present simple for the future. The plane leaves at 6:20 in the morning. So I'm talking about the future. I'm talking about tomorrow or the next day, but I'm using the present simple because there's a fixed time. The train arrives at 8:38 p.m. My class starts at 8:30. So on that occasion, we can use the present simple for the future. With the present continuous, what's the first time that we use it? So we use it when we're talking about an action that's in progress right now, something happening right now. For example, we're listening to music, or he's running the race. So these things we can see happening, or we are doing them, we know they're happening. So that is the main time when we use the present continuous. But we can also use the present continuous when something isn't necessarily happening right now, but it's happening around about now. So it's a temporary situation, not a very long, permanent, routine, like with the present simple. For example, I'm reading a really fantastic book at the moment. So here, I'm not reading it right now, I don't have a book in my hand, but the present continuous tells you, that this is happening this week, this month. It's something that's happening around about now. It's a temporary thing. Or, I'm living in New York at the moment. So again, this is just momentary, and maybe it's happening for a month, maybe it's happening for a few months. It could be happening for a year, potentially, but we know that it's temporary in the person's mind. It's not a permanent situation. They see themselves leaving New York at some point. They don't see it as permanent, they see it as temporary. Now our third time that we use the present continuous is when something is changing, when a situation's changing or developing. For example, his English is improving a lot. So again, we're talking about a short space of time. So it's improving a lot at the moment. Maybe in the last week, the last month, I've seen this improvement. So it's generally improving at the moment. But it's not a rule that it always does this. It's just for this time being that it's happening. Or, she's getting better each and every day. So again, we're talking about a reduced amount of time. 1 week, 2 weeks, a couple months, maybe. Not a permanent situation. And the fourth and final time that I'll tell you about with the present continuous is for the future. Okay, which is a little confusing. You can use the present continuous for the future, but you've probably already noticed this, like, I'm going to the cinema this weekend. This is present continuous. They are meeting up with some friends later. So the future in English, we don't actually really have a future tense. There's no future tense. There are some different ways we can make the future, like the present continuous, when we're talking about a plan, when we have a very strong plan to do something, then we use the present continuous. And I know what you're thinking, but there's will, teacher, there's will. I will go, I will do. Yes, that's true, but it's not actually a tense. It's just one word, and you just put it before the other verb, and it has a future meaning. Now, let's compare some of these sentences and see how the meaning changes if we use the present simple or we use the present continuous. Okay, so let's go back to that first sentence I said in the present simple. Do you remember what it was? I said, I play football every day. So, present simple, it's a routine. Now, is it possible to put this into the present continuous? It is. I can say, I am playing football every day. But it means something a little different. So this means that it's not a routine, it's not something I normally do, but it's just something that I'm doing at the moment. So maybe I don't normally do any sport, but this week or this month I am playing football every day. So it tells the person that's listening that this thing is temporary and not permanent. What about this sentence? We usually eat lunch at 12 p.m. Can I put this in the present continuous? I cannot, and there's one specific reason. Because we have the adverb of frequency, usually. We can't use the present continuous with most adverbs of frequency, because they're talking about something that's a routine, something that happens regularly, and the present continuous doesn't say that, so they don't go together. So I can't say, I'm usually eating lunch at 12 p.m, no. I can say, I usually eat lunch at 12 p.m. However, if I take away the usually, then I can make the sentence in the present continuous. I am eating lunch at 12 p.m. Now this is going to get a little confusing because this could mean two different things. Okay, so as I said, present continuous can be used for the future. So this could be a future sentence. Like, tomorrow I'm eating lunch at 12 p.m. I'm meeting my friends before at the cafe for a coffee, and then after I'm eating lunch with them at 12. So it's possible we might use this sentence in that instance, in that context. But it could also mean that this is a temporary thing. I'm eating lunch at 12 p.m. at the moment. But usually I eat lunch at 1 p.m. But just this week I'm eating lunch at 12 p.m. because my mum prepares my lunch and she has to go somewhere every day at 12:30. So I'm eating lunch earlier. So I'm eating lunch at 12 p.m. at the moment. So you can see the difference between these two tenses here. And also the possibility for the present continuous to mean something temporary or to also mean something in the future. What about, we normally eat in the dining room? We normally eat in the dining room. Present simple. Can we make it in the present continuous? No, for the same reason again, because it's got an adverb of frequency that normally makes it weird. So we can't say, we are normally eating in the dining room. We can say, we are eating in the dining room. And again, this could have two meanings. It could mean, tomorrow the plan is we are eating in the dining room. Or it could mean, just at the moment, temporarily, we are eating in the dining room. But normally, we eat in the kitchen. How about the fact hummingbirds flap their wings 50 times a second? Present continuous? No. That would be really weird, because that's a fact and it happens all the time, so we can't say that it's only happening at the moment that hummingbirds are doing that. Like, hummingbirds suddenly this week are flapping their wings faster than they normally do? That would be really weird. Or what about the sentence, the sun rises in the east? So it's present simple, it's a fact. The sun is rising in the east. Well, we could say this if we're looking out the window and we're watching it happen, and we're just talking about it happening in that moment. Yeah, I could say, look, the sun is rising in the east. It's possible. And if I take that permanent situation, my dad works in an office. My dad is working in an office. Yeah, it works. But it means it's temporary. It's just something happening at the moment, this week, this month, these 3 months. Whereas my dad works in an office is permanent. It happens all the time. They live in the United States. Again, permanent. They are living in the United States. It's temporary. They're only going to be there for a few months, for a year, for a couple of years maybe. Maybe they have plans to leave, or I don't think it's a permanent situation. Like, for example, I lived in China for 1 year, and the whole time I was in China, I said, I'm living in China. I didn't say I live in China, because if I said I live in China, people would think that it's permanent for me, that I'm not going to move. But I knew that I was going to move. I was only there for 1 year. Maybe I would stay another year, but really I was going to return home. I wasn't going to stay in China forever. So I didn't see it as permanent, I saw it as temporary. So I said, I'm living in China at the moment. So let's look at a few more sentences in the present continuous and see if it's possible to put them into the present simple. So if I'm at home and I'm doing some chores, I'm washing up, I cook the dinner, and I say to my friend, what are you doing? You're not helping. So I'm telling them that in this moment, right now, they are not helping. And because it's right now, I use the present continuous. Could I say you don't help? I could, but that would mean that it's permanent. You never help. You don't ever help me. I could say that, and I'm not just talking about right now, I'm talking about all the time. You never help me. You don't ever help me. Whereas you're not helping just is talking about just now. What about I'm reading a great book at the moment? So can we put it in the present simple? We can't, because at the moment just means just in this moment, or just in a temporary period of time. So I can't use the present simple. If I take away at the moment, I could say I read great books all the time, because I have great taste, so I always read great books. And that would be a routine, that would be something that's a fact, it's always true and always happening. What about she's getting better each and every day? This we could make in the present simple. She gets better each and every day. And the meaning, I would say, is pretty close, but maybe she gets better each and every day is thinking about a longer period of time. Maybe her recovery is taking a year or longer, whereas she's getting better each and every day is really focused on a much shorter, more temporary period of time. Okay, so finally, we're going to the cinema on Sunday. So this is the future use of the present continuous. So can we use this in the present simple? We cannot. No, we cannot. We'd have to change it. So in the present simple, we're going to be talking about routine, So if we make the Sunday Sundays, make it plural, then it would be possible. We go to the cinema on Sundays. And that means every Sunday we go to the cinema. So the meaning is obviously changed here from one time in the future to regularly all the time. So, now we have looked at both of these tenses in depth. I hope that's given you a much clearer idea of when to use the present simple and when to use the present continuous. Now, I'm going to show you some sentences, and I want you to complete these sentences with the verb provided, and you decide if you should use the present simple or the present continuous. At the end of the video, I will reveal the answers. So you might be best to pause the video now while you think about the answers to all of these questions, and then look at the answers which will come up on screen. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please do let me know. I really enjoyed making it for you. I think one of the best ways, really, to understand so many different things is to compare them. So I hope you found it useful comparing present simple and present continuous sentences so we can see how they interact with one another and where the boundaries between them are. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please do like this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. It only takes a second or a millisecond, and then you'll be told about all my future videos so you can keep improving your English. And if you want to, recommend me to a friend. I would really, really appreciate it. So thanks very much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!